I was born awake. I never had a spiritual awakening. I was born remembering my past lives. I was born remembering how to jump into different timelines. I was born reading other people's thoughts. I was born with the ability, at the age of 5, I was doing complex algebra. I had my brainwaves tested by scientists because they didn't know what was going on. They were all abnormal. I used to space out and time leap and time jump realities. I was born knowing how to speak to spirits, seeing spirits. I was born with the knowledge of what happened to the earth, and I cried for about the first 5 to 10 years of my life very deeply for a long time, from the pain of the earth, and remembering that we used to be in harmony with everything around us as caretakers, and that was now gone, and that humanity is like a virus. And that made my heart so sad. And I've had to learn on this journey here in this life how to have compassion for humanity, because we are all good inside and because people want to help. It's just the system and what's happened, the fallen, that has made us forget, who we really are and why we're actually here. And I'm here on my soul path to help.
Welcome to the crossroads of the known and the unknown. This is AJ Parr's Spiritual Journalist Podcast.
Sian Whitewolf. She does energetic healing. And there's one thing about you that really drew my attention, is that there's a video that you recorded in which you said that you have not had a spiritual awakening because you were born awakened, and that you could remember your past lives. So can you please tell us who you are?
Yes, so I was born awake. I just assumed that a lot of people were born awake. And I have only just recently discovered that it's quite a rarity. It has been a challenging path for me, but also given me insights and gifts that other people don't have, to be able to bring healing to others, and to bring insights to others, and to bring, forward movement in people and their souls. So yes, I'm an energetic healer. I've worked with energy all my life. So I was born remembering how to do these things too. So being born awake, when I came out, I could remember, it was almost like I was dreaming, but I could remember different times as far back as I can remember. So even when I was in the pram or 1 year old, I could remember, times around the Egyptian timeline. I could remember things back, Native American timeline. And I was very confused as to what I was doing here and why I looked the way that I did and why I had white skin and why I was in this life and I wasn't out riding horses in the plains, or I wasn't out in the Egyptian pyramids. So I was very confused as a child, and I came with all of these memories and learning anew how to work with the wind and the elements, and bringing in, well, I would say the energetic magic, and flowing that through my body and using that ever since I was little to create things or to heal others. So always had these gifts. And also growing up, I felt very removed from my family. I didn't really understand the society that I was living in. I was very upset for many, many years and cried for many years as a child, because I knew what was happening to the earth, and I knew what was happening with society and how it was draining Mother Earth. And I mean, this was a young child, like 3 to 5 to 8, not watching anything on the news. I just knew that this was happening and that humanity was acting like a virus and, not living in harmony with the earth. And it hurt me so badly. And so I had all these memories, all these things going on, all these abilities, and it was a lot to navigate in a normal life, especially going to school and things like that, with all of this going on in my head and trying to narrow myself into a regular human experience.
How would you define spiritual awakening? And why do you say that you were born awakened?
I think awakening is an understanding, and a direct connection to source, without the programming of society. So an awakening, you remember your past lives, you remember your purpose, your soul mission here. You remember your abilities, so whether that's healing or working with the grid lines, working in the higher dimensions. So you have the awareness of who you are, what your soul's doing here, your connection to source. You can see spirits, you can speak to things on the other planes of existence. That to me is awake.
Are you still able to see spirits and speak to spirits and contact the
Yeah,
source?
absolutely. All the time, every day. I work with spirits every day. So I use them as my allies. I use them in healing. I use them to clear land, even done exorcisms before. You know, I can't do it all myself. So I use spirits to help me. And I always have done since I was little. My mother would always say, you know, you're speaking tongues. She would find me in my room speaking tongues to other beings all the time. And, you know, she always accepted me and she was a great mum. She's like, okay, I know Sian's different. And, you know, I was doing complex algebra at the age of 5 and understanding physics and algebra and things like that. So I was very different. And so different that I even was taken to get my brainwaves tested by scientists quite a few times. I have these memories, and they would hook like a machine up to my head and measure all my brainwaves and doing studies on me. And they would measure me doing algebra, like I'd start doing things and they would measure like the sine waves going on there. So I still don't really know about that experience. It was quite strange, but that was part of my upbringing. But yes, going back to the spirits, they were always present and very much around me, talking to me and teaching me things.
So how did you learn algebra when you were so young? Was it something you remembered, or was it something you learned?
No, I didn't learn it. And my parents were they were very intelligent. And my mother was a teacher and my dad was a physicist. So, I mean, I think that maybe they were just playing around some day trying to teach me, and I already knew what was going on. So that blew their mind. I think they were introduced the concept of it, and then I just knew inside of me how to do all these things.
What about your 3 near-death experiences? You told me that you died when you were born, and that you had a couple of other near-death experiences. Is this so?
Yes, so 3 all up. So I was born technically dead. And they said to my mother, I'm sorry, she's passed, you know, she's not going to come to the world. My mother started grieving and then, yeah, came back to life. So that was interesting. And then they said I would be born with brain damage and severely disabled, probably can't walk and all these things. So, yeah, it's severely retarded. But it was the opposite. I was highly intelligent. So, yes, you know, A grade plus student the whole way through. But yeah, so that was the first incident. And the second incident, unfortunately, was through a domestic violence episode, which is quite heavy. But, you know, I was thrown through walls and strangled over and over again. And he kept, and this is the thing, and I know I've got a strong soul mission and I'm looked after by spirits, because he kept killing me over and over for hours. I think it was like a 5-hour ordeal. And he would keep strangling me until I would pass over. And I could hear the music coming through and everything sort of go red and slow down to almost a halt. And then I would go through the tunnel, and then my guides would be there, the light is there, and I'm passing over and I'm speaking to, I call them the gatekeepers that are there. And they would say, no, you're going back. And they sent me back. It must have happened probably about 6 or 7 times where I was passing over and coming back. And then he put my head on a chopping block, and he had a knife, and he was coming up to me, and he said, okay, I'm ending you and I'm ending me. And he's coming towards me, about to stab my head on the chopping block. My head's on the chopping block. And my spirit guides came in, because they kept sending me back. They're saying, you've got a soul mission, you can't go, it's not your time. And they told me, everything slowed down. They said, say this exact thing to him right now. I can't remember what it was for the life of me. And then they told me to do a little twist under his arm after I said it. So I said the exact thing. He froze and he went white and he didn't move. And they told me to do a twist under his arm, which I did. And they said the keys were in his pocket to the car. It's like a movie. I had no idea they were there. And sure enough, I put my hand in there and I felt the keys. And then they said, run. And he was still frozen from whatever I said. And I still don't know what it was, but it really shocked him. And then I ran up to the car and got the keys. You know, I was trying so hard, got the keys in the car, and then I got away. So they saved my life.
So this person attacked you for no reason, or what?
Oh, well, he obviously had big issues, bipolar.
He was your boyfriend or something, or your husband?
My partner at the time, yes.
Okay.
And I have had issues with spirits jumping into people that aren't awake and that add a low vibration, and they will come through to try and get to me because I'm on a strong soul mission of awakening souls, healing people, and I'm important for this planet. So this is what's happened to me. But it was quite remarkable and profound that they told me to say that exact thing and then told me to do that exact movement. I had no idea the keys would be there or even thought about that, you know, and planned my escape for me. So it was a very profound experience.
What about the third NDE?
Yeah, so the third NDE, I was with the same fella. This was before that one. Yes, and we were in the ocean, so it was a drowning, and he was quite a daredevil and would just pressure me to do things. So we jumped into a blowhole. So a blowhole is like in the rocks, and it's where the water sort of comes up, and it's very turbulent. It goes in and out, and it blows up water. So sometimes surfers jump into the waters like that to paddle out, but it was a very dangerous blowhole. So anyhow, I jumped in there, and I wasn't strong enough to fight against the waves smashing, and I ended up getting pulled under and then just tossed and thrown on the rocks again and again underneath. So I just I couldn't get up, and so I was stuck in this cycle of water just throwing me against the rocks again and again and again. And I started swallowing water, and and I knew that was time. I couldn't for the life of me get up, and it was quite a peaceful experience, really. Everything went red again and slowed down again. So I have this experience where time sort of stops and the waves stopped and everything stopped, and it got that red color. And then I heard all this beautiful music coming through the water, and I just let go, and I was swallowing a whole heap of water, and I looked up through the water, and it was very peaceful. And I looked up through the water, and I could see an eagle way up in the sky above me, just circling to his energy. And I thought, how profound that he's up there free. I just had this last little thought. He's up there free flying around, and I'm down here drowning, you know, does he even know? You know, what a strange connection. And so I accepted that I was passing over. I passed through again to the light, passed through to my guides. And once again, they said, no, it's not time. And it was amazing. I felt this surge and this pressure underneath me, and it was like a hand of water literally picked me up. To this day, I just can't explain it. It was like a massive hand or something going underneath my bum and pushing me right up and onto the rocks, and just lifted me up. And then I just was on the rocks like this, and I was covered in blood and all cut up and just throwing up all this water. But something again saved me, you know, and remarkable experiences. I still can't really 100% say, you know, what it is, except that it's a spiritual thing. It's spirits, I believe, helping me on that side and also on this side.
Who are those spiritual guides that you have met throughout your life? Do you recognize them? Are they always the same? or how do they identify themselves?
So I've had many different spirits. I can speak to spirits everywhere. On the land, I'll speak to guardian spirits that are at certain places on the land. There might be old Aboriginal spirits, or even older than that. So I work a lot with spirits of nature. When I was younger, I would speak a lot to the spirits in the trees. They were like long, black, very tall spirits that would come out and they would sit with me. I would run away from home a lot because I really didn't like society. So 5, 6, I'd go and sit in the forest, in the bush, and I would speak to the tree spirit, and I would speak to these other spirits as well, the long, tall, black ones, and they would sit with me and they would teach me how to do magic, and they would teach me what I needed to do in the world. So yeah, in my childhood, I would speak a lot to those spirits. Now, I speak to all sorts of different spirits. I have a couple of guides. I have a Aboriginal man that comes through a lot in healings. I have a Native American man that comes through a lot in healings. My mother, who's passed over, comes through a lot. And star beings. So I've had a lot of instances connecting with beings from other dimensions and realities and star systems as well.
So what would you define, or how would you define your spiritual path or your spiritual journey?
Well, I've always known that I'm here to help people ascend and heal out of the human trauma experience so that they can become guardians again for the earth and walk the right path of creativity and of guardianship so that we can help humanity. So I've known this since I was little, and that's what my path has been, healing animals and healing people, activating them as well, connecting people together. So I'm sort of working on those different realms. But for me, it's been a bit of a journey having compassion for humanity. That's been a learning curve for me because I had a lot of resentment for a long time for what's happening here on earth. So for me, the journey's been learning how to bring the two worlds together, the spirit world and the human world, and learning how to function as a human. I've got 2 children, in this life, but sort of be in another realm of existence as well at the same time, and not be caught up in the system, like not living in that slave system mentality, not living in that rat race, working for myself, having my own rules, living off grid where I can. So yeah, I think bring the two worlds together.
What do you work on? How do you make a living?
Actually, it's really interesting. I don't advertise. I don't really do anything except for put the intention out there that I am ready to activate and heal people, and they just come to me. And animals come to me as well. I have wild dingoes, I have wild horses that I've healed, and people come to me too. So, I offer exchange. They pay me for my services, and they pay me well because they want to work with me. And a lot of them won't leave. They keep wanting to work with me, because it is an amazing experience of ascension, and then experiencing the spirit world and experiencing the connection to source, and to the universe, and that we're an integral part of, that we're always connected to. But I think we have a thick veil over us. We've been very programmed in this society, and we haven't been activated into having that direct connection. So once you're in there and you're connecting and you're experiencing all those things, it's quite the remarkable journey.
And is this something you learned on your own, this activation and this healing processes?
Yeah, so I guess in more ancient times, you'd be in a tribe, and the people that were born with gifts were picked as shamans, weren't they? So they were born remembering things, I feel like, but I never had that opportunity. I was born in Australia into, a family, a normal family here. We were living in the bush, in the outback, but I never had that guidance. So I was born with all these gifts and these memories, but it was me going into the bush, into the Australian bush, and spending many hours as a child with the spirits, very, very old ancient spirits, and they taught me everything that I know. They taught me macabre mechanics. They taught me quantum mechanics. They taught me how to connect to the earth and all the elemental energies. So, and make potions and medicines, and I can go up to a tree and I can feel what medicine that tree is or that leaf is, you know, or that plant is, whether it's poisonous, whether it's healing, or whether it's, I can feel through the vibration and I'll get a vision of how it heals the body. So yeah, given many gifts, but that was, I never got a piece of paper. I did study Reiki, but I found it actually diminished the power that I had because it's a smaller channel. So I just thought I needed a piece of paper and I thought I'd give it a go. But no, everything I have known since I was little, and it's very powerful. Macabre mechanics, when I look up and I actually found what it actually is, it's macabre mechanics. So you're working with a macabre star, 6-pointed star, and you're working with the universe and you're working with your light body.
Yeah, the Merkaba is basically your light body, your energetic body, right? But that's a term that, for example, Cryon uses. A lot of people use. Did you spontaneously learn this term, or did you adopt it from someone?
Well, I think trying to explain what I do to other people, I happened upon it on the internet and I'm like, oh, that's what I've been doing since I was little. But I do other things around it as well. I guess it's the closest sort of guide that I can give that I work with. You know, it's not only that. I do timeline journey, I do shamanic journey. I work a lot in the dimensions, taking people into their past lives, you know, traveling them through the grid, connecting them with their star family. So I work a lot in all these dimensions. So I don't even know what you would call it, to be honest, because there's so many different elements to it. So
right. Well, see, you seem to be doing a lot of things, and you're also very active. I've seen your videos with your bow and arrow and with your horses. You have several horses, right?
Yeah, I have 2 horses at the moment and 2 dingoes. But yeah, I just love the bow and arrow because to me, it's using energy and it's using that quantum energy and visualization more than accuracy. That's the way I use it. So it's just like a flow. And then where I'm visualizing and where I want that flow to go, it goes. So it's like being in the flow. And same with the horses. Like I love that flow and being in the wind and connecting to the elements. And, you know, I've got a very good telepathic bond with them as well. So I love connecting to the earth that way and to the animals like I always have. So that's my time to connect back in away from people.
So, if you'd like to see the second part of this interview with Sian Whitewolf, don't forget to watch our next video.
This has been the AJ Parr Spiritual Journalist Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.